Mom demanded that I share my late father's money with my stepbrother and stepsister, or I have to move out in a week. A little background before I tell you what happened. I'm 17. I live with my mom, she's 43, my stepdad, and his son and daughter, and we're not close. My stepbrother, let's call him Jackson, is a year older than me, and my stepsister Emma is 2 years younger. We all go to the same school, but we don't share friends, and we've never been truly close. Mom married their dad after almost 5 years together. The wedding was 3 years ago, but we'd already been living as one household for 6 years, so the wedding was basically a formality. As for my dad, he's gone. I barely remember him because he died when I was very young. My parents were never married, and his family didn't approve of my mom because she was a party girl then and had a bad reputation in their town. So my parents lived together for a short time but didn't marry because his parents would likely have cut him off. He was diagnosed with late-stage leukemia at 27, and it was too late to do anything. Thankfully, he had enough time to put his affairs in order and set up a college fund for me, so my mom wouldn't have to kill herself working to pay for my education after he died. I've always known about this money. My father's lawyer told me when I was a kid. The lawyer managed the fund, and after my 18th birthday I was to have full control. For a long time after my father's death, it was just me and mom, and I got used to it. Then my stepdad came into our lives when I was about 8. After a while, we all moved in together. Mom moved out of our old city because it hurt too much to stay where she had met my dad. I never met my paternal grandparents. They weren't interested in me. We sometimes visited mom's parents. They're nice enough, but her family isn't very close in general. So when I moved in with my stepdad and his kids, I had big hopes. I thought I'd finally have a real big family. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and I don't even blame them for it. Just saying it was a big disappointment for me. As a kid, it's not like they rejected me or treated me badly, but something was always off. We all lived together, but never felt like a family. I never managed to build a connection with my stepdad or his kids. They never tried to make me feel comfortable or get to know me. I tried a few times, but they weren't enthusiastic, and after a couple of months, I just gave up. I accepted that we were more like roommates than a real family, and didn't kid myself. With mom, though, it was different. They treated her another way entirely. The energy toward her was completely different, and she was truly welcomed. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think part of why my stepdad and his kids happily embraced my mom, played happy family with her, and left me out was that his ex-wife was apparently a nightmare. I never met her, but I heard about her. She was a gold digger who left my stepdad practically broke. After the divorce, he had to start over, and he had the kids because their mother gave up custody and dumped them for a new boyfriend soon after. Meeting someone like my mom, the complete opposite of his ex, must have felt like a blessing for all of them. But I didn't fit that picture, and that's exactly how they made me feel. Extra, unnecessary. I can't point to specific examples. It was more about the general vibe. I always felt that while on paper, I was part of the family, in reality I wasn't. The only comfort I had was telling myself I might be imagining it, and I clung to that when it got too hard. It's strange to admit, but I even felt jealous of mom. It seemed like she had finally found her people, and I was left outside. After a few years, I started getting angry at all of them because I felt abandoned, but I never talked about it. It always felt too petty to make a fuss over. That was life. I didn't like it, but I accepted it. Now to what happened a few days ago. For the past couple of weeks, I've been actively choosing colleges. I graduate in a few months, and it's time to apply. I wasn't worried about money because, like I said, mom always reminded me about the fund my father left, and I planned to use it. But a few days ago mom said we needed to have a serious talk. She explained that my stepdad hadn't managed to save for his kids' college, so she needed me to help the family and let my stepbrother and stepsister use money from my college fund. Jackson took a gap year and plans to start college the same time as me. That was the main topic. Legally, mom can't touch the fund because my father clearly stated in his will only I would decide how to use the money after I turned 18. And honestly, I didn't want to share with Jackson and Emma. First, I don't see them as family, and I'm sure they feel the same. Second, even if I didn't lose the entire amount my father left, I still wanted to use whatever remained just for me. That money could genuinely give me a good start. I could rent my own place and live on it until I start earning. Besides, People already saved a lot on me. I went to public school instead of private, and Mom still hasn't spent a cent on my education. I'm a good student, too, so I'm hoping for a scholarship at whatever college I attend. I've never had money problems, but now that I'm months away from turning 18, I started thinking about savings and earning. So giving part of the fund to my step-siblings sounded flat out dumb. I told Mom I wasn't going to share because I didn't see a reason. If Jackson really wants to study, he can enroll and take out loans like millions of students. Mom didn't like my answer and called me selfish. I didn't argue. I said, yes, I'm selfish, and there's nothing wrong with that, because I don't consider them family. That's when Mom started screaming at me, because in her opinion what I said was practically a crime. It took me a few seconds to process. She completely lost it just because I honestly said I don't consider them family. The double standards were insane. They treated me like an outsider for 8 years, and that didn't bother her, but I'm supposed to treat them like blood for no reason at all. I tried to stay calm, without shouting, but it was pointless. She was already pelting me with accusations, calling me ungrateful and so on. I waited until she finished yelling and said, "She can scream all she wants. I'm not changing my mind." All she'd achieved by screaming was pushing me further away and killing any desire to help with anything. She calmed down a little after that, and I thought we could finally have a normal conversation where I could express my feelings. That was naive. I forgot that in this house my feelings mean nothing. The only thing that matters is that Mom, my stepdad, and the stepkids are happy. My happiness doesn't matter to anyone. When Mom collected herself, she told me I had a week to change my mind, or she'd have to kick me out. I thought she was joking because it sounded ridiculous, but she said she was serious. Since my 18th birthday is less than a month away, she soon won't even be legally obligated to let me live there, because I'll no longer be a minor. So they'll throw me out, and I'll be completely on my own unless I agree to share the college fund my father left solely for me. I couldn't believe my own mother would say that and put me in such a horrible position for the sake of my step-siblings, when I should have been the closest person to her. She said I should be careful and think it through, because this decision could cost me everything. Then she left the room, and I sat there trying to digest her words. It was unbelievably humiliating that my own mother treated me like that. That day I made up my mind. I would leave that house no matter what it took. I started talking to friends and told them I needed help finding my own place because I planned to move out by my 18th birthday. I told them everything Mom said and how urgent it was. I knew that as soon as I turned 18, I'd get full control of the money and be able to decide how to spend it. Yes, I'd have to live on a budget and choose my college path carefully, but it would be worth it because at least I could live separately and not have to endure my family, or more accurately, force them to endure me. After that conversation with Mom, it became crystal clear that I was unwanted in that house. Just extra. All those years I wasn't overreacting. If anything, I'd underestimated the situation. I never imagined it would come to this. A couple of days later my friend told me she'd talked to her cousin, who was applying to the same colleges as me since our interests aligned. The cousin planned to live off campus from the start, and my friend suggested I contact her. If we both got into the same college, we could rent a place together. I thought it was a great idea and messaged her cousin right away. We talked everything through, and I told her my situation. She was very sympathetic, and I felt she was a good person and we'd get along. So housing was taken care of. The only thing left was where to live until school starts, since there were still a few months to go. That turned out easy too. My friend said I could stay with them until college begins. The plan was chaotic and risky, but I was ready for anything. It was better than living with Mom and those people. After that fight, the way they treated me became awful. I don't mean they directly yelled or mocked me. What they did was far more humiliating. They all turned against me and acted like I was the most disgusting creature on earth. The minute I walked into a room, conversation stopped and everyone dispersed. They constantly shot me looks and refused to speak, as if I'd done something horrible. It was so humiliating I just wanted to run. I needed time to set everything up, but I was determined. As soon as my friends could take me in, I'd leave. So when Mom came back and asked if I'd changed my mind, I decided to tell her the truth and go. I said I hadn't changed my mind and that I really was going to move out. I told her that the way she and her family had treated me all week was pure madness, and I couldn't take it anymore. I said I'd already talked to friends and would live with them until college starts, and I can leave for good. I said I didn't want to see her anymore, so she could go ahead and kick me out. Nothing would change for me. I already had a plan, so I wasn't surprised when Mom started yelling again and said I needed to get out of her house because there was no place there for selfish, ungrateful brats like me. I left pretty willingly and was happy to see them all one last time. But that wasn't the end of my plan. All those days I spent alone in my room, I thought about how to get back at Mom. Ever since she married my stepdad, my life changed, and not for the better. She didn't care because she was happy with her new family. I tried to be happy for her and suppress my feelings, but now it was obvious she doesn't care about me. Her stepkids matter more. That hurt, and I decided I wouldn't just let it go. So as soon as I left, I decided to expose the truth and show everyone who she really is. The only reason I waited a week before moving out and talking about her absurd demands was that I didn't want her to have any access to me, so she couldn't guilt-trip me or make scenes. No one in their right mind would support what she said to me, and I knew that as soon as I moved in with my friend, I could safely make a post online about my mother. I described everything in detail, how she screamed at me just because I refused to pay for her kids' education. I also mentioned that none of them had ever treated me like family, and Mom was fine with that. The problem only arose when I did the same to them. I called out her double standards and wrote that as soon as she had a new family, she basically forgot about me. I added that I think she's the most selfish person on the planet for how she treated me, all because I said no to a completely unreasonable request. Any normal person in my position would say, "No, that money was left to me by my father. It wasn't some communal fund," and demanding that I share it with people who never considered me family was unfair. Maybe I would have thought about it if my step-siblings had ever been kind to me, but they weren't. I was furious and poured it all into one post. I knew it would hit Mom hard because I have a lot of followers, including Mom's friends and their kids. I didn't care at the time. I wanted revenge. Honestly, she'd been my only source of support and joy my whole life because I only had one parent and no relationship with my grandparent. She was my first and most important friend. So when she chose her stepkids over me, it was a huge betrayal. I was in so much pain, I just wanted to let it all out without thinking about consequences. I posted it, and exactly what I expected happened. I got several messages from Mom. She screamed that I had ruined her life. Everyone saw the post, and it spread to all our relatives and acquaintances. Mom is pretty popular in her circle, so of course people were just waiting to gossip about her, and I served it up. She tried calling several times, but I didn't answer and ignored her messages. I felt awful and hoped the post would at least make me feel a little better, but after her messages, I felt even worse. I started doubting myself. From her words, I realized it really hurt her. She wrote that she never expected this from me, that she thought she'd raised me to be kind and compassionate, but I turned out to be the opposite, and now she can't even believe I'm her daughter. Then she brought out the heavy artillery and said that if my father were alive and saw such a spiteful and vengeful nature in me, he'd be horribly disappointed and wouldn't even want to know me. Those words hit hard, and I felt like I was doing something horrible. I started rethinking everything, and that's how I ended up here. Now I don't even know if I did the right thing by refusing to share the fun with my step-siblings. I don't know if I should try to repair things with Mom and the others, because I'm not sure I can look them in the eye after what I did. On the other hand, maybe this is just a very slick manipulation, and if so, it's definitely working. That's why I'm turning to you. I don't know. Did I do wrong by refusing to share my college fund and by posting about my mother? So, before we continue, let's answer the question right now. I'm thinking what I'd do in the heroine's place. I'd probably refuse to help the step-siblings too, but I don't think I would have written such a scathing post. Sure, you could say 100 times that it was deserved and the mother had it coming, but still, I wouldn't have done it. After all, despite everything, the heroine herself says her mother was once her best friend. Why not remember those times and, at least for that reason, not do something like this? On the other hand, being thrown out of your home is very, very unpleasant. What would you do? Write in the comments, and we'll continue. First update. Hi everyone, and huge thanks for the responses. Many of you wrote very kind messages, and that helped me feel better and see that I did the right thing. I think I needed that to finally see things as they are. I almost gave Mom a second chance simply because I wanted to see the good in her and believe she wasn't a bad person. But what kind of mother says and does what she did? She's just not a good person. It's time to accept that instead of fighting the obvious. So I blocked her, so she couldn't contact me anymore. I knew if she wrote again, it would only be to manipulate me or to make me delete the post. I don't want to delete it. I wanted to stay up at least until she apologizes. She knows where I am because my friend's mom told her I'm staying with them. She knows how to find me. So if she doesn't try to reach out, it means she doesn't care about me, only her reputation. Second update. It's been 2 weeks since I left my stepdad's house and moved in with my friend. Since that post, I've had zero contact with anyone from the family. I've gone to school a couple of times and ran into Emma, but she just gave me a nasty look and acted like I didn't exist. No surprise. Pretending I don't exist is something they've been good at for 8 years. Probably even easier now. Anyway, Mom finally visited me last night. She showed up with a black plastic garbage bag and tossed it in the living room, saying it had all my remaining things, the stuff I didn't take when I left. It hurt that she packed my things in a trash bag, and even more humiliating that she just dumped everything on the floor. My friend and her parents saw it and were shocked. They really didn't like my mother's behavior and confronted her. They told her that considering I'm her only daughter, she should show at least some compassion instead of treating me so cruelly. They really shamed her. But of course Mom took it badly. She told them they had no right to lecture her on parenting when they were harboring a delinquent like me. I almost burst out laughing when I heard that, because I've never broken any rules. I'm a straight A student, and Mom knows it. I was about to remind her, but I didn't have to. My friend stepped in for me. She told my mother off and said she was grateful her parents had nothing in common with mine and actually had a heart. It turned into a shouting match, after which Mom huffed off. I was incredibly grateful to my friend and her parent. They didn't have to stand up for me, but they did, and I'm endlessly thankful. It was probably the first time in my life someone really fought for me, and it moved me deeply. In any case, I doubt Mom will show up here again, because after that reception I wouldn't either. I really hope she doesn't come back, because I'm tired of the drama. I want to live peacefully and start a new chapter, and I can't do that if she keeps showing up. So I'm praying and hoping that was our last meeting. Third update. Hi everyone. It's been a while. I think a couple of months. I was busy applying to colleges and trying to get into one that would give me a good scholarship. I worked really hard, and it paid off. I'm now at the college that was my first choice. And yes, I'm sticking to the plan I made months ago. My friend's cousin, who applied to the same schools, also got in here, and we're going to rent an apartment and live together. She's really sweet, and the fact that she's my friend's cousin is the cherry on top, because it helps me stay connected to everyone. The last few months were very hard emotionally, but my friends helped me through it, and I can't express how grateful I am to have people like this in my life. I know many people with awful parents and families find emotional support in friends, and I used to avoid that. But now that I've seen how far my friends are willing to go for me, I feel they're my real family. I'll always be grateful for everything people have done for me. Honestly, I don't think I could have achieved this much without their help. It's strange and even funny, but my own mother hasn't even bothered to text me once since I moved out. She didn't care, even when I unblocked her and she had the chance to talk to me. That's how little I mean to her. Meanwhile, you and my friends told me to believe in myself and that I'd be okay. It's wild that strangers on the internet did more for me than my mother. But anyway, that's all in the past now. I'm excited for a fresh start and whatever the future holds. Well, that's it. I still hope the mother will come to her senses and return to her daughter someday. I don't think the chances are that small. She'll live with this guy for a while and maybe, just maybe, she'll come to her senses. It seems like as long as she's under his spell and influence, she just can't make reasonable decisions. So at the very least, I think it was right that the heroine unblocked her mother, because in most stories everyone just blocks each other, and that's it. They don't want to communicate at all in the future. Thanks for listening to this story till the end. Check out our previous videos, which you'll see right here. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you somehow haven't yet, and good luck to you.